Chilly Friday.
Hello, Rob.
Welcome to Friday. Freezing cold live at the Lightbox.
It's about 1,000.
I know. Look at us.
Compared to everywhere
It's like
else.
we're in Melbourne. We're such.
What is it?
We're
What
such
do you reckon it is?
sooky
What is?
lards.
I know. What is the temperature?
Well,
Let's have a
you know
quick
what
look.
it is. We're not actually
We're not
used to it.
acclimatised to this, right?
So when it's 18 degrees,
Do you know what it is?
everyone thinks it's freezing.
It's 18.
Oh, is it 18? I just pulled that figure out of nowhere. So.
I don't know what it was. My office is freezing today. Hello,
Yeah,
Gary.
but you know what? It's
Barclay,
gotten colder as the days progress. So
I reckon it has. So Peter Palmer,
You know the thing
Pete
is-
Murray.
g'day
Pete
guys.
Murray,
Butchie's
Pete
on.
and Butchie,
It's
Big Bill Thompson, Jason Hartwell. It's all
There
going on.
it is. It's going on. We're a bit late, actually.
We are. Sorry.
Good that we started a bit
I
late.
know it is.
How's everyone handling the cold
Oh,
weather?
hopefully it's all right where you are. So
I love it when we have people who move up here, like Southerners move
yeah.
up here and buy houses, and
they go, shit, it's hot
well,
up
they
here.
walk in the first time when they're looking at houses, and we're all rugged up with jumpers and everything, and they're walking around in stubbies and
a singlet.
singlets.
Yeah, that's right.
And within a couple of months, you see them, and they're all
Yeah.
rugged up because they get acclimatised to it as well.
David
So it's
Bruce
like,
on there.
oh, it's so cold.
Oh, Julie's
Yes.
in Subic
Subic Bay, Philippines.
Mate,
Oh,
35 degrees. I'm going to be over there with you in Cebu
Holy
in
smokes,
10 weeks on Sunday. Pete.
Fiona Owens joined
10
us.
weeks, bro. Need a big call. Pete's going
Amazing.
to call me across the line
Wow,
at
the
a triathlon
Philippines. Have you been to the
and
Philippines?
send me off to next year's World Championships. Thanks, Pete. Love your work, bro. Can't
Oh,
wait
that's
to see you there. I
fantastic.
know.
How's your bones going?
Oh, so bad. No good. Feet, worst bones in Australia.
God,
It's like
wow.
they're- Oh, no. Indoor, a lot of training, though.
Yeah.
I've dropped nearly 10 kilos in 3
What have you
weeks.
got? What's your thing you've got?
Bone
again?
bruising.
Bone bruising.
Bone marrow edema, which is a real
Right.
shit of a thing.
Yeah, that's not nice.
Google it. And it's
Yeah.
just very ordinary.
I'm very sore but muscular
They are?
from we've really
You
ramped
can't even
up
see your
the.
guns now.
Yeah, oh, don't
Because
worry.
you're doing the whole
Ange
thing.
took a heap of
Helen-
photos yesterday, and she's posting them on her
Helen, you
page.
got good luck.
3 weeks
Oh, gosh.
today until I go under the
Yeah,
knife.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. I'm
You
so
scared?
excited and nervous.
Oh, you
I'm
would
shitting
be.
myself.
Really?
Of course I'm
You're
scared.
going to take
but
off 15 kilos of skin. You're
Oh,
going to be nuts. You're going to have to run
I
around and
just,
shout and get wet.
seriously, you know, the funniest thing, I was talking to a friend this week, and for anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't watched our lives, I'm having all my skin removal surgery after losing 87 kilos. So my first surgeries are in 3 weeks, and I was actually having a giggle today because my surgeon told me I had to put on a couple of kilos. Because he's doing fat transfer, he needs to be able to suck some fat out of me to like sculpt different parts of my buttocks and all that. So they put fat transferring. So they're not. So you're not getting. So you're not getting. Bye, Nancy. Thank you for the afternoon tea.
They're going to give you a fat
So for
ass.
40 years, I've been told to lose weight, lose fat. You're
Yeah,
too
you
fat,
got
lose
the weight
weight, lose weight. And then my surgeon goes, it'd actually help if you put on a couple of kilos. So I got some fat to work with. I'm like, no
Are you
way.
serious?
Yeah, so I've had to actually put on a couple of
That
kilos,
is
which I'm
crazy.
so
How do you do that?
uncomfortable.
How do you do
I've
that?
just increased my carbs
Yeah.
and
Chocolate? Ice
a
cream?
little bit of chocolate.
Oh,
A little bit. It's
I wish
addictive,
someone-
though.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't had chocolate for so long, all of a sudden you sort of go, pull back, pull back.
Yeah, it's good.
Greg and Craig, welcome.
I've lost a heap of weight. I've been on the shakes.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Why do you do this? It's like binge
I
drinking
know,
for
I
you.
know.
You try
Go up and
something
down like a
different
horse
all the
draws.
time.
Oh, I know. Well, we've
All
just
the
got it.
time.
Because I've got to get fit so Pete can
Yeah.
call me across
Fiona
the line.
said, you look cold, guys. Want to build a snowman?
We do look
We
cold.
do. I love that song.
Craig, who's Craig Isa? Do you know
You
Craig?
wanna
Should
build
I know
a
Craig? I probably do. Craig, sorry, mate.
Oh,
I
you-
don't offend you.
Some guy that you
Not
met.
Yeah, someone. Craig, someone.
Yes. So leadership. We're going
disruption.
to
Are you
talk
gonna
about.
start or do you want me to
I
start?
want to sort of take the
Holy
lead and
shit.
ask you some
What?
questions. I'm going to ask you some hard questions.
Hit me with
Because
them,
I've been
baby.
watching
Hit me
all your
with them.
leadership
Yeah, they're
lives.
good, eh?
They're
I like them.
fantastic. And, there's a few things that I've sort of thought, I've done a bit of reading and research and stuff, but I thought I'd just hit you with, well, let's just move
Hit me
that
with
out
it,
of the
love.
way.
Yeah, hit me with it.
So how do you define leadership?
Oh, man. Influence.
Mm?
Such a broad topic, eh? How do you define leadership?
And that's what I want your opinion of, because are we talking parents are leaders to their children? Are we
Okay.
talking
Here's
the boss or owner of the company? A manager is another level of leadership.
Oh, I know. I've
Under
kept
the
it.
owner.
I've kept it so generic because I think it's all of those things. I think as parents we're leaders. You know what? I even think as drivers we're leaders. The way you drive, other people watch how you drive.
Absolutely.
Especially kids, look at how you drive. And so what I always say is leadership is life.
Mm.
You know, how you lead your life. Because leadership is actually starts within, and really at the end of the day, leadership is behaviour. So it's about
So by leading by example,
Yeah.
yeah.
and being congruent. Like, so if you say you're going to do something, do it.
And I think of the Aboriginal elders in our community, and they're they're the leaders of the and I have a lot of friends who they look up to, and even my daughter Sarah is marrying Jack, who's Tongan. I've met his grandparents, and they talked a lot about the Tongan culture, and they've taught me a lot about the way that the hierarchy works within their community, and that the women are sort of the head of the family. And so I think leadership, as far as when you're looking at cultures, and
So there's another element of leadership.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think leaders, and I wrote the blog post today, is for leaders versus managers. So what I've done, get this, here's a hint for you. If you're out there and you're out there in Facebook Live land and you want to put content out, you know how people struggle to put content out? What I'm going to write about today? I have found the best thing on the planet. The website's called Answer the Public. And it's got so it's got the most searched Google items about your topic.
Really?
So I just put leadership in, and I'm just now working my way through the couple of hundred most searched.
Are you finding some funny ones?
Yes.
Like interesting funny ones?
Yeah, I've probably even still got it open, have I? No, I haven't.
Hey, Dave.
Guins Ros, Scottish or Welsh. I can never remember Diane McKenzie. Dave Bowen. And so I'm just working my way through, like, what is leadership? What's the difference between leadership and management? What makes a good leader? Or who or how?
That's really interesting, because, when I asked you, should we do this? And I actually just Googled disruption in leadership. But you know what? A lot of it that came up was how the digital age is disrupting technology.
That's what I thought you'd go. I've got a couple of different perspectives on it, though. Let's just unpack this thing. What is leadership first, though? Life, example, getting things done through others, and congruency. So I say what I do, and then I go and do it. How's that?
And that makes sense. And then my next question then, and I already know the answer probably, but I want to know your opinion. Do we need leaders? In everyday life, do we need leaders? What's the... Well, I'm just thinking...
Why do you ask that question?
The reason I ask is because don't we all want to be led? Well, that's the thing. Some people, I think, are more drawn to being a leader. Like, when they break you up into groups at a conference or at school things, they break you up and they say, now you guys have to choose and the Bank of Queensland thing we went to. We all had to pick a leader within the group. And remember, the disruption was halfway through the day when we were doing the planning, the presentation for the end of the day. They said, right, the leader that you picked has now been sacked. They've got to leave and go to a different group, and you then have to pick a different leader to take over. And I thought that was a really good thing.
Cool thing. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in the group. You will either naturally be drawn to, I think I could do this, and step up and say, I'm happy to do it. Or the other people in the group tend to say, well, I think he'd be really good at it, because they're not someone who would take
the lead on. It's a good call. And for that reason, I think it's probably a yes, we definitely do need. See, I always... in my mind, the word leader is quite generic. When most people say leader, I think strong leader, because you can have the title leader. It's not just the title, though; it's what sits in behind that and the behaviour, like we're talking about. So I think strong leaders. And in saying that too, that there's followers. Some people just want to follow.
Well, there are,
and be led, and that's okay.
Being a leader doesn't always mean that you're leading something good. Because when you think about the gangs at school, the American bullies. Movies where the girls that are the prom cheerleader, whatever, prom queen, and they are the ones that all the other girls want to be like and want to follow and everything. So they're a leader in their group, but it doesn't mean their influence is good. Their influence is not.
That's my point.
And
when you think about
their purpose is not always for the best.
When you think about some of the most influential leaders on the planet over time, Hitler.
Yeah.
What's
not such a good guy in most people's eyes, is he?
Pol Pot.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un, who's just executed one of his ministers
Yep.
because they didn't do a process properly or something.
Yeah.
And so you can certainly use leadership for bad. I tell you, one of the most profound experiences I've ever had, and I was sitting in a Tony Robbins seminar one time. Have you ever been to Tony Robbins yet?
No, I'd love to. I would love
We need
to.
to probably go together this year, like in September in Sydney.
I would love to see Tony
You'll
Robbins.
do some skin or something about that time. So you
Might be
not
healed by
right
then.
for it.
September
you might be
I'll be
right.
healed.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And there's this, so when I first started public speaking, I went down there like 3 years in a row just to study him.
He's
Just
amazing.
I know.
Tony Robbins is
I
just
know.
speaking of great leaders.
And he's too hard to study because you just get wrapped up in the story and the process. And I spent 3 days there in San Antonio.
Yeah, I was going to
There's
say,
a
did you
strong
go?
leader.
Because I know Kim and Tony from Candy Kashua, they went down, they posted on Facebook.
He's crazy good.
Yeah.
He's the next Tony Robbins, I reckon.
He's-
He'll be at that level eventually.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who don't like him.
No, that's right.
Yeah, he's
But a lot of people
you
don't
either
like
love him
Tony
or you
Robbins
hate him.
either.
Yeah, true.
And you know what he says? You're going to have haters. And
Well, all
I
leaders
get
are
that.
going to have haters.
Haters,
Look at
that's
Donald
right.
Trump. He's a USA president, but he's got a lot of haters. He's got a lot of haters. Donna Ellis, thanks for joining us at our last live, Donna. That was really well received.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She did good.
she did great. She enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
She'll be back.
Mm.
She'll be back.
Everything.
Are you
even
cold,
like-
Donna?
Hey, talking about disruption in relationships.
Yeah.
I've got a mate who's Zach Guinness.
Zachy!
Go, brother.
He's beautiful. I have to say,
he's a good lad.
we went to a meeting this week. Sorry, we're getting off topic.
Were you with
again.
Zach? Did you see?
Yeah, we
Zach?
went to a meeting at one of the
Where'd he
solicitors.
go?
They're
Go
looking
good?
at bringing in PEXA, which is the new electronic settlement in Queensland.
Oh.
So you know how when your house settles,
Yeah.
sorry, another segue. When your house settles, they draw a check.
No, I'm on it on my
On my
mouse.
side.
On my mouse.
Oh,
That's all right. We'll be back.
they're just
We'll be back.
sitting and waiting. Having haters means
you're doing something right. And
That's right.
Troy
Oh, I don't
Postle's
think
there.
we're actually still
we
on.
will. It'll come back.
Having
Okay.
Wi-Fi issues.
No, mobile hotspot's on, and it's on my Android.
Yep.
Connected.
Your light box is off. That light box should be off, shouldn't it?
Oh, none of them.
Oh,
are
it doesn't
connected.
matter?
See, it says Android connected, secure.
Let me have a
All
look.
right,
I'll go
yeah.
on here and see if we're
still on.
connected.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
So can you have come good?
Okay.
Have come good? Maybe we must
Okay,
have come
maybe.
good.
Just let us know,
Stay
Zachy,
strong,
if you can
Zacas.
see us.
Can you see us, Zacas? Due to Paul, your thing has been paused.
It's paused.
Paused, though.
Oh, no. That's delayed, obviously.
That's delayed by a few.
Ros Waters joined. Hello.
Well, I
don't
don't
know.
know. I'm going to say that we're still on.
Can you see, can anyone see us?
Zacas, can you see us or hear us? Because we just, sorry out there in podcast land, we're just trying to work out our technology here, this isn't.
This is funny that it's
this
still
hasn't
saying
happened
live.
before. Yeah, this hasn't happened before.
So-
Yeah, mate. Zacas reckons he can see
Oh,
us.
okay. All right. So we've
All
just
right.
sit here and waffled on for a while.
Right.
So, yeah, right.
Wendy
Okay.
Elphinstone, hello.
You've come good. Oh, it's
Yeah,
just
cool.
telling us it's
Okay.
still trying to reconnect. So,
That's all right. We're going to presume we're on.
yes. So, with the PEXA. So,
Yeah.
Zachy and I went to this meeting with some of the other agents.
Crystal.
They held it at VAJ Burn this week
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Kylie from there is the head of the Law Society globally.
Is she?
Oh, she's the representative or whatever
Mhm.
for all the solicitors. So when you sell a house, oh, good on you, Zachy. Thank you. When you sell a house, the solicitor, they
stuff.
draw a check for the commission, the solicitor's fee, and then the owner gets the balance in a bank check. So it normally takes ages for you to go through that process throughout the day. The settlements usually have to be booked for 3:00 in the afternoon. Then you have to bank the check, and it takes 3 to 6 days for a bank check to clear, so you don't get your money straight away. So this new system, PEXA, they're bringing in, which we all went and had a meeting about to learn about this week. The solicitors who come onto this PEXA system will be able to do an electronic settlement, which means all the figures are sorted out before. The settlement happens that morning pretty much, 11 o'clock-ish. See ya.
See you, mate.
And all the money's electronically transferred directly into your bank account. So
Straight away?
the owners will get their money for the house
away?
straight away into their
Oh,
bank account. You don't have to
shit.
wait for a check.
That'd be
So,
great.
yeah, it would be.
And
So
not
that's the
only
meeting.
that, bank checks suck.
I know they do. In this day and age, seriously.
Did you know?
We heard your story about, you told us that,
Oh,
yeah.
Don't do bank checks, team. Anyway.
That was terrible. Anyway, so
I know.
you were saying about
Tony
Aaron,
Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Yes.
So Aaron was good. I'll tell you about Aaron in a
Hey.
second. So talking about leadership, like if you go to a conference where there's 5,000 people in the room,
Yep.
and he gets everyone moving, he gets everyone doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, the only way I could describe it is like cult-like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what a cult's like.
It would be like the evangelistic.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, in America.
Hillsong. Yeah. So they can really pump people the whole crowd
Yeah, I know.
up. It is very evangelistic and
I know.
cult-like.
Very, and so is Aaron Sansoni too.
So is Aaron Sansoni.
And they all are, and so will I be.
He used to
At
have
that
this.
level.
He used to have this like comb over hair.
Did
The conference I went to was
he?
Glenn Twiddle
He had
organised.
He had comb over.
He had a full-on comb over,
over.
and then he made this big announcement that he'd made the decision to get
To
his
shave
head
his head.
shaved, and
Yeah.
he looks so much better.
He
like
does.
He, is.
He looks good,
so
eh?
much
He's
younger,
a
and
strikingly handsome young man.
yeah, it
young
was
Aaron
crazy.
I think he's
crazy.
about 40.
Zachy, are we
He looks
still
good.
connected? Because it's still saying that we're not
Yeah,
connected
I
on
reckon.
our screen.
I
So
reckon we are. I'm going to hit. Do you reckon I could hit that?
no, I just
Just
don't
think
know.
we're all right.
Well, that just refreshes the page. So will it cut us off?
Don't know. I think we must be all right.
Yeah. Well, mine's delayed, so I don't even know.
So
Post something, Zachy, if you can hear us.
Yeah, that's it. Zach, is he still on? So we can't actually see who's on.
It's
now.
still saying that we're on here on my phone.
Yeah, cool. Beautiful.
So
Disruption in leadership. So yep,
oh,
sure.
good on you,
Thanks,
Zachy.
Zach.
I don't know why it's saying.
Good on
that
you for watching.
It's trying
Thanks,
to connect. So disruption. Okay, so
technology is the biggest disruptor.
that's
Hey,
what I read
And by the way,
in everything, not just business.
Okay, guys, a true leaders handle situations under pressure, still problem solving, understand as they go, understand weakness, turn them into strengths. Thank you, guys.
Awesome,
Enjoyed.
Craig.
Good on you,
Yeah,
Craig. Love your
definitely.
work, right? And that's well said. Nigel Clements, Julie Robertson. And so, see, leadership means something different, everyone, right?
It does.
It's such a big, broad topic.
I found this. They did a report, Redefining Leadership for a Digital Age.
Yes.
It presents findings from a global survey of more than 1,000 executives across 20 different industries.
Yeah.
The data revealed that even though 92% of leaders reported to be feeling the full force of digital disruption, less than 15% of them claimed to be very prepared to guide their companies through the eye of the digital storm.
And I get that. I've written a few blog posts on that, on how to do
I
it.
actually think that's pretty fair.
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
expect that.
Yeah, no, that's not
I
like
would expect
normal.
that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's not out of that.
Because you talk to just everyday, like, entrepreneurial executive type people, and
They're
most
not very
people, they're
tech-savvy.
not. Well, there's a lot. There's so much of it. It's just overwhelming to learn. You sent out that email today from the Guinea group about LinkedIn.
Go me.
It was awesome, and I'm like,
I
that's
know.
just simplified dot points of what I
Bang,
should be
bang,
looking
bang.
for.
I know, easy peasy, Japanese.
You know, but when you actually have got someone saying you need to get onto this and you need to, and we've got, like, regularly with the real estate industry, we've got all these companies trying to get us on board to get us a better position on the website and Facebook. How do we do Facebook better and all of that? And it's just, your brain gets so bloody full as a leader with all this stuff. And in the end, sometimes it's easier to just to go, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know I've got time for that.
That's right.
It might not be the best for you, but those LinkedIn tips that you sent out were fantastic.
Are they good?
If you want to go on Anton's mailing list for the
you-
Guinea group to get tips like that.
Did you
Send
realise
him a
that was
PM.
an opportunity for business?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good. Just
Definitely.
as long as it came through like that.
Definitely. Hi, Nigel and Julie. I hope you can hear us. Our screen's still saying we're still.
That's okay. I can go.
So another question for you then.
Can I actually just very, very quickly before we
Oh.
talk technology
Is
disruption?
that still working? Yeah. It's still live?
Before we talk technology disruption, can we talk Gen Y disruption?
So them disrupting people or them being disrupted?
Managing the next generation of young punks.
That's a whole lot of
That's a whole
work,
lot of,
isn't
that's
it?
a different.
They're
That's
a whole different.
That's a different story, isn't it?
Oh, it is. They're a whole new.
Have you got young people in your business? So technology is one thing. I think managing people is still going to be something of the future, right?
Billie Eilish. This is the concert I went to a
is
few
it?
weeks ago.
How was it?
Yeah, it was
Was it good?
amazing. Freaking amazing.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So I probably Katie would be my young. Oh, well, Katie and Laurie are both. What the hell are they cufflinks? Are they?
Just found some cufflinks in my pocket. Strange enough, they're
green. Shock horror.
Oh no, something different.
So yeah, probably early 20s, like early to mid 20s.
Oh, that's probably a bit too
It has
old. What about?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't have
Early
any-
20s.
I have had younger people in my business, but
Are they different to manage than say someone our age?
Absolutely.
Right.
But you know what? I find there's some really positive things about kids of that age, or young people of that age.
Me too.
But there's some really, I think there's this the stuff that was, I suppose, I don't know whether we were just brought up this way or it was more instilled in us, or that whether digital technology and social media have made them things appear differently to them, or for them not to take some things that we take as important, or they just come naturally, like common sense, for example. Right. Common sense is something that I don't know whether having things in your life that make things easier for you gives you less common sense, but there's certain things where I think they just take it for granted.
For example?
Well, I think things like rentals is a really good thing. We have a lot of young people rent houses. You can sit there and tell people till you're blue in the face of that sort of younger and don't get me wrong, there's older generation that are like this as well, but mainly they're young people. It's almost like you can sit there and say to them until you're blue in the face, if you do anything that is not allowed on this lease, this general tenancy agreement, or if you don't pay your rent on time every week, you will get breached. And the breaches and the late rent will go on your permanent rental record. So when you go for a rental next time, it's going to be harder for you because you will have a reference saying they were late with their rent. There's a lot of them that just go, it doesn't matter, we'll fix it later, or we'll sort it out later. Oh, we won't get in that much trouble. You know what I mean?
They don't get it.
No, and it's kind of interesting to me that I think and this is, I can personally put my hand up and say, I think as a generation of parents, we are responsible for a lot of that. I think we've let our kids get away with a bit more than what we were able to.
Yeah, I agree.
Did your kids have a phone fairly young?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's no way. Like there's no way. We would have
never got away with
anything we had, we usually had to work for, either by doing jobs or chores, or I think
it was just a plain out no.
Well, yeah, but it's also.
Are you warm now?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit warm.
Freezing.
That's really, really warm, that jumper. I think also with things like, we had a specific time the TV had to go off and you'd have to do your homework.
Rules.
Yeah, we weren't half as strict as our parents with setting. We had to be home.
Before you get whipped.
Before the sun came down.
Right.
There's no way that you would, there's no way at 15 I'd be able to go on a date.
No,
you know what I mean? Those
right.
sorts of things. So I think and I'm not saying we were.
Can I give you
really
my perspective on it?
It's just made it the next generation
a bit slacker than us. Can I tell you something? At 12, I think I've shared this with you. I made the decision that I was never going to raise my kids the way that I got raised.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I was very, very clear on that. And you know what? We were probably a little bit.
Give us a thumbs up, Zachy, if we're still on.
Are we still on?
We're talking
Can you still hear
to
us?
a brick wall.
No, we're talking a podcast line too.
Oh yeah, hi podcast. Sorry, forgot about that.
Even though I've been locked out of my podcast thing and I can't get back into it, so I can't load anything.
We've had a bad week. I got locked out of eBay and I don't even know why.
Did you really?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm thinking, how do you get banned from eBay? Seriously, I haven't bought anything in there for ages. And I went to buy a pillow for my surgery recovery and I'm like trying to punch the thing in and I'm like, oh God, there's Donna. We must be still on.
Banned from eBay.
But I got it in big red letters with asterisks either side, like I'd actually done some criminal activity.
That'd be a fraudulent email.
No, it wasn't. It an email? I was trying to actually log into eBay. And it came up with this big thing about my email address is like, I don't know. Really? It was like, maybe I tried too many times. You know, when you've
good leaders can predict any future action, thing or event that could affect the business and put measures in place that will eliminate or reduce, even if the likelihood is unlikely, they're prepared. I like that.
That is, that's good.
So leaders do look forward. So leaders do have a forward-looking approach, absolutely.
So as parents then, back to our generation, so we were leaders.
We were soft with our kids.
Yeah, I think we were.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I would never, you're all good, says Zach. Hey, Zach, very quickly.
We'll ask you directly.
Do you feel
your parents were a bit soft on you?
Your parents were too soft, or do you think you got it okay?
Were your parents a bit soft on you, or do you think they were too tough?
I always say that
with rules and stuff.
I love my dad's story.
Yeah.
He's boy, walked to school. We did 20 miles.
Oh God.
Uphill each way.
Oh yeah.
Both ways. Is that right, Dad?
Yeah.
Good on you.
And we only had chicken on once a week and
bread and dripping.
Yeah.
Bread
we got a
and
stick
dripping.
for Christmas. Yeah. They were all hard done, boys. Woe is me.
No,
but I actually have to agree with you. I think a lot of the passing over of the baton from our parents raising us to us raising our children.
Yeah.
I believe we've actually we have raised a generation of children who are more likely to speak up about their own opinions, which I think is great. They actually are more educated in a lot of ways.
Scars from the whip.
Oh, you poor thing. Sure, he didn't whip you. He must have done a great job because you're pretty awesome,
He's
Zachy.
a good lad.
But also, I think their tolerance, when they are, we've talked about young people coming out as gay younger now.
And they're more resilient or not?
Absolutely. My kids, honestly, they are very accepting. And not just, they have, they know friends who are transgender or, and I think they just accept them. They don't sit there and go, will I like you or will I not? They just accept people for people and cultures and different races. And I think we had parents who were, parents who were brought up in a generation where, they were dead against certain things because they were told, they were told things about different cultures or races. They were very, very bad. And you know what? It's very hard to get them out.
Let's not beat around the bush.
They were very, extremely homophobic.
Our parents were homophobic.
And still, it's hard to break that when they believe that for so long. So I listened to my parents talk about things. And when the debate about gay marriage came up, your parents and their generation have this opinion
about it.
And then you listen to your children.
And they've got a totally different opinion.
And you sort of go, we're in the middle of this whole changeover of, we've got these children who, one, they're probably a bit spoiled with what they've been given, but they've also had to deal with the generation of all this technology and stuff. Yeah. We were talking to some friends the other day and they said, thank God Facebook wasn't around. When we used to go and play up at a pub and whatever.
Oh, we would have been in all sorts of trouble.
You would have got away with that. And you look at these sports people and all this stuff that they get caught on a camera doing. And you sort of go, oh my God, because I've had conversations with Matt Burnett and Glenn Butcher about this. When you're a high-profile public figure, everyone's always looking at an opportunity to bring you down.
Yeah, that's right.
And social media is there. So when you're a leader and you want to have a good reputation and set an example, it's really hard nowadays.
Well, that's the congruency piece. And Butchie, I don't think he even drinks in public, or he's pretty careful. They'll only have one, or they've all got rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, Ross.
Well, it is good. I think, but there's still people there who will take advantage and try to bring you down.
And that's the Aaron Sensoni thing. You will have haters. You will have haters.
And Donna said that before, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And Donna's saying my parents were hard as. If you could only play one sport, and if we wanted to go somewhere, we had to. And
my brother chose BMX, so my sister and I did that too.
Just because he was doing it.
Oh, I can see you on a BMX, Donna.
Yes, me too.
I can so see you on it.
So with racing kids and leadership as parents, it's amazing how much of your kids just model your behaviour, and I think you don't notice it until you get a bit older, and you actually. It's like when they're 15, 16, because you're just trying to influence them so much, you don't notice how much they're like you. And it's not until you let your hair down a bit and go, well, they're 19 now, they're their own adults. And then you go, oh, he's doing shit that I do. That's funny. And that's where he got his sense of humour from, that joke.
So answer this one for me then. Do you think our generation with our children, do you find, and I personally find that I have got much better communication between my children and I. Like they open up and they talk to me about stuff there is no way in hell I would have ever brought up with my parents.
Brendan talk
growing
to you?
up at the same age. Absolutely. Brendan and I have a very, very good, and I actually have friends like Zachy, we've talked about in groups when his mates have been there, and they're like, we'd love how open you are with Brendan, and you can talk to you about anything. And I think
we're pretty good too.
Yeah, and you are, and that we've talked about that. We're pretty cool parents, apparently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And that's good.
And it's I think it's not everyone. I just think it's the way we are with communicating. We encourage it a bit more, and my kids always say they feel.
I think good parents at our age are more the rule than the exception. Yeah. Whereas good parents at our parents' age.
So could you?
Good rules was good parenting was the exception. Like they all sucked.
So how old's Zachy? 21.
19.
No, okay.
Tove is 21.
So the stuff you talk to your boys about now and that they come to you with, would you have ever had those conversations with your parents?
Not at all. No way.
And what were the chances of them finding out about stuff?
I was going to let a few secrets
slim,
go.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Back in the day, the rumour mill was a bit rife.
Yeah, you could do
because
stuff
your
without
parent-
anyone knowing back then
Well,
too.
yes
couldn't
and
you?
no, but I used to find every time I did something, Mum and Dad found out.
Oh, they knew
Like
people.
you put an earring in or something, or you have a durry out
Yeah,
public.
yeah.
Oh, someone saw you
Yeah.
smoke. You know, like that.
Well,
used
our
to
dad
happen
was the
back
local
then.
police officer,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
were in
so
a small
they know.
town,
Oh,
so
I know.
people were again
Always
dying to
watching
find
you.
something
Yeah,
out.
and Mum was
yeah.
a teacher of 30 years,
Oh my
so she
god,
knew
yeah.
everyone.
So yeah,
So you think about the Guinea family. Dad was QAL 30 years
Yeah.
and did all the inductions out there.
So
So
he knew
imagine that
everything.
I know it. Mum was a teacher for 30 years.
oh god,
And even last night, not a day would go by where someone says, "Oh, your mum taught me," or "Your mum taught my son," or
that's
"Oh,
crazy,
shit."
isn't it?
Yeah, and then I've got two brothers
And your
who are
wife now,
trainers.
you would hear that
And
about
my wife's
Jules.
a teacher. Yeah, I know. Now this kid's come through that she's taught. Now we go to a checkout and they say, "Hello, Mrs. Guinea."
Oh my god, that would
I
be
taught her in
amazing.
prep.
Think of all the people they've influenced your mum and your wife
I know.
as teachers. See, they're leaders.
Yeah. Oh, teachers, big time leaders.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Hey, John. Do you know John?
yeah, John Morphy,
Oh,
great lad, about 18 foot tall. John is. He's the tallest.
Assuming
man
we're
in
still
Australia.
on, 'cause
I think
we're
we
still
are.
on the
We must
phone.
be.
It's
Don-
interesting.
Yeah, Don is
On our
still
screen, it's telling us we're
We're
still
not
trying
on,
to connect.
so we're just still cracking.
we're
we're just cracking away.
That's all right. The podcast
We
is
have
a
more.
catch.
That's right. We just have a bit of fun.
So leaders, as far as teachers go, and
Yeah.
you've got the leaders of the school as teachers, but you've also got then your seniors and your
absolutely, leaders in the school.
student council and
Prefects.
prefects
I
and,
wanted to be a prefect at
and your
Nudging.
class
And
captain.
were you really?
Well, class
Yeah,
captain,
yeah.
you always have the class
Yeah.
captain.
Oh, I know.
Student council representatives, and and the headmaster is the leader of the teachers.
Toad's
So school is
the school captain. We had one school captain in the family.
awesome.
Yeah.
I can see him as a school captain.
Yeah, he's a good lad too. Zacchaeus could have been too. He just decided that he might play up a little bit more and be a character like Dad was.
So
Mind you,
just-
I got expelled from school too, so he's following good footsteps.
So I found this disruption in leadership. This is what I found when I googled it. We live in an age of disruption. Gone is the familiar status quo, warm and cozy that has always been there, standing by us through thick and thin. A disruption, by definition, is a radical change, necessitating an adjustment of course or strategy, often caused by the launch of a new product or service. So that obviously would be more in business. So with your experience going out to
Mindful of building on my little people's vocabulary, not just the
just
sad,
don't
but
be
also
angry.
the butterflies.
oh, that's great, Donna.
So helping them become emotionally aware
Yes.
is what Donna's
And
saying.
I can see
now.
Donna would be really
She
good at
would
that
be.
with her kids.
So anyway, disruption.
disruption.
Oh, you're getting a call too.
Oh, that's okay.
Mandy, baby.
Yeah, it's her 40th birthday tomorrow, so we're having her
You're
40th
playing
birthday.
up.
Happy birthday, Mandy! She
You know, sometimes I feel sorry for people watching us.
I know.
We just
I know,
go,
we go-
and every if anyone ever gives
And-
me feedback,
I
right,
know.
they say, "Can I give you some feedback?" I go, "Yeah, give it. You hit me with it." They say, "Can you stay on topic?" I say, "No."
Yeah, but you
got
start
no
talking
chance."
about solar panel, your bald head, and what are bald men sexy, and
Oh,
then
I
you'll
know.
go off about
And then we were
funny.
talking
And then we'll
nipples.
talk
Weren't we
nipples.
talking
Yeah,
nipples?
we were talking about
Which way do your
nipples.
nipples point? Straight up and
Anyway,
down.
back on topic.
And then they
Segue.
spit on each other.
We do.
Anyway.
yeah.
So disruption.
So in what you do, so you go into industries
Businesses
and
fix
and
shit.
businesses
Yeah,
and
have a
you
great
talk
time.
to the
And
leaders.
Thank you for everyone.
So
Gratitude.
there's different levels of leadership within a big. So
Of course.
for example, the industry.
Manager
So you
down
would
to
have
supervisor.
the people
Manager,
from high up in Rio
CEO,
or whatever, and then you would
manager,
have different
Superintendent,
levels.
supervisor.
Yep. So then you would have even just the crew, the guy who's in charge of
Leading hand.
the crew, so whatever. So how do you get all those levels of leadership to actually work together with the same? Does that come from the top, the very top?
What do you think?
Well, I'm asking. I would expect yes, it does.
I've got to tell you, girl, and I never appreciated just how much that does. There's a local business in Gladstone, and I won't name who my clients are because I'm pretty careful.
Yeah.
Now you're cold again.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Can I tell you something? I was working in this business, I don't know, a couple of hundred people ish.
Yep.
And I was working there, let's say, with the old CEO in charge. And I've been there for a couple of years now working in that business. And they've had a CEO change.
Yeah.
And I never, ever, some stuff you say because it's theory.
Yeah.
Oh, and the CEO drives the culture and all that sort of stuff. And when you see it in action, and when I deal with everyone in that business at all different levels and see the change in those people and see the change in the leaders because of the change of CEO.
Because of one person.
One person. Do you know what? I'm going to tell you something. it was that profound, the change in this business. I shit you not. You're looking as if...
I'm looking at you like it must have been so obvious to you.
So not obvious, even profound. I had to get him. I got him and I said, mate, we've got to talk.
So had you talked to the people that worked there?
Yes.
And how they were feeling from the changes?
They love him. Some
That's
don't
amazing.
actually like him. They actually love the fact that he's a people person.
That's
like
amazing,
him or hate him, they appreciate how people focused he is. Now, I'll tell you one thing about... So I went and actually spoke to this guy.
Yeah.
I said, I need a meeting.
Why are you so good at what you do?
Yes. That's what I asked him.
Yeah.
And of course, being a humble guy, culture is everything. Absolutely, Donna. And that's a whole different... Actually, that should be our next week's topic. How do you build a culture in your business?
Oh, I think that's a great one. Actually, excuse me.
Yeah, that's...
If I'm not getting a cold, I'm really worried. I've been sneezing all day.
Mm-hmm. Stay strong.
I take so many vitamins.
Do you? Oh, good. So,
shouldn't be getting sick.
And I just love the way that this guy was so humble. No, it's not me. It's on the leadership team. It's, a good CEO.
So the levels below him hadn't changed. They were the same people that were under the previous CEO.
100%.
And see, that's amazing to me that he has that flow through
effect. You talk to anyone in that business and they will tell you. How do I know? Because I've spoken to them. And I ask them regularly, how have you found it? Because I want to know.
That's amazing.
Crazy, Ross.
So that's obviously why we see, because obviously this above the CEO is the owners or the governing body or whatever. So, so banks, for example. So the board of the CBA, they would employ a CEO, and that's where you will see a change of CEO if the board don't.
It's funny,
Like if you've got a company like you were just talking about, where it's very obvious that there's flaws throughout the whole company, you only can go back really to that CEO and the systems and procedures that are in place.
Yeah, let's not say flaws. Let's say an opportunity in the business to have a people focus rather than a process focus.
It's very diplomatic of you.
Very diplomatic, right?
You've done this before.
Once or twice. So, and they talk about the difference between leaders and managers, right?
Yeah.
So check out my blog post, theguineagroup.com.au. It'll be up there tomorrow morning.
Guinea Group.
Our great girls that do our web stuff and blog, it'll be up there. And I'm going to do a live on that later on. So when we talk leaders, we talk people focus. When we talk managers, we talk process focus, right? Because managers are just very procedure driven. And the business was very process focused.
Yep.
And they'd forgot this element of human beings. And so that business became very, very people focused. And it's really amazing to see that transition, because it's a shock for people when you go from managerial style to a leadership style, if that makes sense.
Can they both be successful?
Well, here's the next part of that conversation. Yes, they can. I think managers without people focus drive a very, very different type of behaviour. So it's not an empathetic type, caring relationship with their people. Leaders have to be good managers as well. That's what people don't give any credit to. Because leaders, as much as you do people follow process, and the more they follow process, the challenge is leaders take people on the journey of why the process is important instead of just saying this is what you will do. Instead of being very directional, they put some trust in people to actually be innovative too, and to use the processes for the right reason. And if they're not right, change them. Do you know what I mean? Give people ownership, empower people to.
So in that managerial style of leadership, is there longevity in that, or not without people under the manager who can still do the people stuff? Because I would expect people would eventually get without no job satisfaction. If you're coming to work and it's mundane and all.
What happens then?
They leave.
They leave. That's right. High turnover. It's churn in businesses.
And a lot of you may have been in
businesses
like that.
Absolutely. People follow missions and visions that resonate with their personal values.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
When we do culture next week, we'll start with values, because that's where it all starts, with values.
Yeah.
The amount of times, and it happens.
Do you know how long I've been trying to write? I've been over 3 years, and we're still trying to write my mission and vision. Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Have you'd have
whiteboard out the back, and it's just all we take notes. And what do we have? What's still? Because you know what's interesting as a leader of my business. What I find difficult is when you get different advice from lots of different people, and some of these are professionals who are supposed to train you in this stuff. Yeah. And I've had a lot of people who've said you should get your team involved in your mission statement and all of that. And then I've had people say, no, it's your vision. So you as the owner have to make the vision, and then you get people on board that support that vision. So it's a bit confusing when you're just like, hang on a sec, do you get your team involved, knowing that, you know, you've been through different people when I opened the business to who are with me now. And it's really confusing. That's why we literally have a whiteboard in our back office, and it's got about 15 different statements, because we've all put what are the words, you know, that are most valuable to us. Yeah, I've had 15 people tell me that, and my whiteboard is still full of stuff. I can tell you now.
Here's the short answer to that. Have your vision. You need values that everyone aspires to. Do you know what I mean?
I have. It's just I just need someone to just say, just do it.
And you do.
Do it already.
You're a perfectionist.
Well, it's more that I second guess things.
Yes,
is that right?
That's perfectionism.
Yes.
Progress over perfection.
The girls at work call me Dory, like
because you
fish
keep talking
in
about
Nemo.
stuff.
No, because I get sidetracked and segued and yeah. So.
I'm gonna, just very quickly while we're talking, I want to show you something, because it'll be this is that easy to find. What I'm going to show, while we're talking here, team charter. Here's the.
Donna, I have to say, not that I doubt that you couldn't help me, sweetheart. I'm
this.
sure that you could.
She could, and so could.
Oh, look, Zach, look how your son's amazing. He texts me that we're coming through clearly.
He's a beautiful lad.
He is a beautiful lad. I'm just making sure.
What you can't see here, team, is that I'm just showing Ros the Guinea Group team charter.
Hang on, can I put a photo? I don't think I can post a photo.
Of that.
Oh, okay.
Being memorable, unique and inspiring, leaving businesses and team better than before we work with them, and being pumped. So what do we commit to? Our beliefs and values. Like it's...
Oh, okay.
And guess what? You won't see that there. People that come into our business,
amazing.
They've got to sign on to our team charter.
That's really amazing.
If you don't sign on to our team charter, you're not going to buy into our visions. And no one ever hasn't.
That's amazing.
It's that easy.
Help me.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Anytime for a
I would appreciate that.
You create it because if you stay and everyone else goes, yeah.
Sorry, I just remembered a question I was going to ask when you were talking about those different levels of leadership. So in effect, from what you just said about the CEO, and then there was the changeover, and you saw the changeover in that. So in effect, to a company, can the leader be the disruption? The CEO can be the disruption.
Absolutely. Good or bad.
I was just thinking, because if you've got from the very top, and it's like the federal government, I guess.
I know.
It's like we're the board of directors, so we vote and we say, right, you know, we want a change of government. So the CEO is the prime minister in effect, and then he's got leaders under him, which are all of his, you know,
managers,
and the Senate and all of that, who tell him, you know, their opinions and whatever.
Yeah.
So the government is kind of that same sort of format of, you know, different levels of leadership, and then we have our people locally on the ground. And Ken O'Dowd won the election here locally. Congratulations, Ken. So in effect, if the PM or the USA Prime President, if they're not doing a good job, they are really the disruption. They are actually the disruption. Is the leader of the party.
Oh yeah, that's a good perspective. I like that.
Because we're talking about disruption in leadership, but I was just thinking, if there's a board of directors above the leader of the whole company, and if he's doing what you were saying the other CEO was doing, and then he becomes the disruption, and it actually costs the company money, and it costs the company good people, and flows down to the bottom. So
and just very quickly before we keep going on that, you create it because you stay and everyone else goes. I get that. The challenge is that everyone goes because they haven't been part of that and they don't buy into it. Does that make sense? And so talking about disruption from CEO level, the disruption happens at all levels of the business. You imagine when you put a shitty manager in somewhere that's
so she's saying that I would have to do my vision statement. So you would do it. Yeah, okay.
Whereas I don't. Kia, there's two guineas on today.
Yeah, guinea.
Another little, she's a beautiful little girl too. Joey's raised her and Vanessa's raised her really well. Erin Robertson. Hello.
Hey, Erin.
She's most engaging business women. What a great girl, doing great things out there.
So when you go out to your what would be the most relevant reason for companies getting you out to talk to them about leadership?
Teams in turmoil.
Okay. And it's do you have
hold on, let me preface that. Hello, says Aaron. So there's three reasons that I get a call.
Yeah.
Teams in turmoil, which is probably 30%.
Do they know that when they call you, or does sometimes it take you to come out and say, "I can tell you what's wrong. Your team's in turmoil"?
So this is what happens. Team in turmoil. Their leader doesn't call me. Their leader's leader calls me.
So the board of directors or someone
like that, or CEO,
the owner, or okay,
right. Team in turmoil. The other end of the scale is team going really well, wanting to create more of a high-performing team.
Good.
Guess what? The leader calls.
Yeah.
Because they know they've got a good team and they're going really well.
That's really interesting.
For example, someone that's just joined here is a client of mine, one of my favourites. They've called me because they know they've got a high-performing team, and their people just got a heap of awards the other night. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations.
They know they've got a high-performing team. They want to go to the next level. Leader calls.
That's great. What does that tell you? That
speaks volumes.
Now, yes, it does.
And so then there's this piece in the middle where we've got a change process or something.
So Aaron's giving you love hearts.
Yeah, good.
Well done,
good,
Aaron.
good.
I think that's awesome.
So
they're recognizing that they're doing well.
Correct. That's a high performing team.
And they've got a high performing team.
And they can get even higher.
They want to go to the next level.
That's right.
Because they know they're doing something right.
Correct.
So they have to work out, what do we do now to get more out of our people and take them. Because obviously if the team's doing well and getting recognised with awards, then they would be motivated to go to the next level, which would drive the company, which benefits everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one particular business that we're talking about, strangely enough, I asked the CEO or the general manager or managing director, whatever his title is, the other day, what do you look for when you're hiring people?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what he said? And this was profound. And I don't think he realises how profound this was. He said this, 2 words. All I want them to do is like people.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that like a lot?
Wow.
Unless you're a people person, you won't get that. You go, like people. That is profound.
And you know what? That's very interesting, because when you ask someone, why do you want to get into real estate, 80% of people say, I've always been really interested in houses and real estate. And that's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, but that's the worst answer.
So you could give me.
But if they say, I really love people and I want to make dreams come true, bam.
Boom, 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 boom. Because we're all in the people. We're in the people business, girl.
Because you know what?
Everyone's in the people business.
If you can have relationships with people and get people to like you and you like people, everything else just falls into place.
You know, leaders, they like good leaders, like people.
Yeah.
Managers like systems.
Yeah, that's
really
so true.
Just have a conversation with someone. You'll be able to tell that.
True.
Kelvin Beachy, there's a leader.
Look, Sarah's joined us.
Leah Chang.
Simon. Wayne Dunnett. Kelvin Peachy.
It's all going on. Sarah Ford.
Leah and John. Oh, we're going. You started the bottom.
We meet in the middle. Leah Ching, hopefully.
Welcome,
Tristan,
everyone. We're obviously still on board.
2 things. I've got to go. So a couple of things very quickly.
I'm freezing.
I know. So you know this disruption?
Yes.
So I did some research.
Yep.
No one has even ever put in the disruption in leadership in your Google search engine.
I did disruption in leadership this morning.
I know. You must be the only one on the planet.
I did, and that's where I got that information. I copied and pasted it.
All right, watch this. Here you go. Here, look.
Because it didn't actually come up as a free.
This is all the searches.
Look, this morning.
I know, but look at this. Look, this is all the searches that people have done about
leadership.
leadership.
How do you do that? That's
I'll show
amazing.
you in a sec. I searched disruption. No one searches disruption.
Is that everything you searched in Google?
Everything that's been searched in
Google.
And don't thank me now. If you're out there, if you put out content, contact me and I'll help you. Now
that is amazing.
It is amazing. Where are we, Ross? Oh, hold on. I think I've gone off our page. As you do.
Oh, it's still there.
So hold on. So
too many tabs open.
So no one's even interested in disruption.
Funny.
Is that interesting?
And it was only that when because I've watched your lives every night. Sometimes I don't see them live, but I watch them every night, and it's very interesting to me. And I thought, well, hang on, we've been talking about how, relationships suffer from disruption, and leadership's a type of relationship because you are having relationship with the people you work with and work for. And I thought, well, I'm just about to go on this massive journey away from my business. I'm withdrawing myself for a month to have my surgery and recover. That's a disruption, but the one big thing that I actually found, I suppose, as far as, and you've talked about this in your lives at night, the biggest thing is trust. We talked about that during the week, trusting your staff, that you put everything into place and trust that they've got your back and they're going to. So trust is a really big thing, is just being able to walk away, knowing that you've got it in a position where it's going to be sustainable and that you haven't left this great big bloody mess. And interestingly, I think it's Tom Panos, or I've heard a few people say it before, how much work you get done the week before you actually go on holidays.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
you're most productive.
Yeah, and making sure and if you actually did that,
every week.
Exactly. And my mum and I talked about it this week. When someone rings and says, I'm just going to drop out in 10 minutes, you can clean your house. It can take you a whole weekend if you've got time.
And you can do it in 10 minutes.
But you can get so much cleaning done.
I know.
That's what going away and having disruption in your business is like. It's just...
There's a law around that. It's called Parkinson's law, I think. It's that jobs expand to the time that you give them. If you've got a half-hour job, you give yourself an hour, it'll take you an hour.
I reckon there has to be a law.
With that,
there's got to be some study done on that, because it's so true.
With what you were talking about then, so the word trust, right? I'm going to go to the next point. Yeah, I was sitting next to someone on a plane the other day, senior dude in a senior business local, who I've just got the opportunity to put in a proposal for.
Go! You've got to have him on.
For years.
You've got to get him on board.
Oh, I know. Guinea group. Give us a call. So, this particular guy, because I laid out this model for him, we had this great chat. Some people are naturally born empathetic and caring. Now, if you're born like that, you have 3 traits. 1, you're very compassionate. 2, you're empathetic. And the third thing is, they say, is you're very trusting. And he said, man, I don't agree. And I said, well.
So you're saying you're born like that?
Some people are born very care factor high.
Yeah.
And this guy said, I don't think it's trust. I think it's faith.
Wait, you did a live on that the other day.
Yeah.
You talked about faith and trust.
And that was another profound conversation.
That was one of the lives that was on. I actually watched that one live, and I think that's true.
It was.
It is. It's about having faith in your people and faith in your ability. And see, going into my surgery, I've had to have that because I'm scared and I'm thinking about all the unknowns, and there's this small percentage of an infection or whatever. Yeah. But I've had to resign myself and have faith in the research I did to pick the right surgeon, the personal training I've done leading up to it, the vitamins I'm taking, the protein shakes I'm taking, the circulatory massage, all the things that he's told me to do. And if you can say, well, I'm 90% there. I've done everything humanly possible to reduce the risk of anything going wrong, and now I have faith in the process. And if that small percentage of something happens, then you deal with it then.
Because trust, a lot of the time we have to do something to earn it.
Yeah.
Or we talk about this behaviour.
That's so true.
Whereas faith, it's blind, baby. It's like religion. We've never seen God, but some people believe we've never seen Buddha.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I loved about that word.
Faith, that's so true.
I get a bit excited.
That's actually really, really interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, it is. So, very quickly, because I know we've got to wrap up, but final question.
Yeah.
Do you think everyone can develop the skills to be a leader, or are there only particular people that can be good at being a leader?
I think everyone can develop the leadership skill.
Really?
Julie Guinea, how are you, sweetie?
Hello, Julie. Your beautiful son's watching as well. Zachy.
I don't know if you've got this. Oh, we've got this.
Hey, Don.
Wonder what we've got.
Hey, Richard, Jenny, Peter. So you think every single person on the planet can become a leader of some kind?
If they want to. It all comes. So a lot of people don't want to lead. I don't know. I'd love to know what the percentage is. A lot of people just want to follow. We need team members as well.
Do you think a lot of it? I believe a lot of it has to do with their
self-worth.
Well, it's their self-confidence, and because if you get those breakaway sessions we talked about where they split you up into groups and then someone's got to get up and deliver. Well, there's a very small percentage of people in that group that will want to get up and talk in front of a crowd. So, and I've said this to people before where, because I've spoken publicly at a lot of things. Good on you, Zach. I actually say, if you get up there and do a half-assed job,
that's better than
everyone in the crowd's still saying, "Oh my God, I could never do that."
Absolutely.
So just get up and do it.
And that's a whole different topic, because public speaking is this fear factor. Leadership's about fear factor.
Yeah. Confronting
situations and conversations that you're shit scared of.
And it's learning as you go too, because you don't step into a leadership role and just be bloody good at it straight off the get-go. Like I've had to learn in 3 years. I can look back at some of the decisions and mistakes I made when I first started my business, and it was like, you're freaking kidding me? Like, what an idiot.
Me too.
And even
do stupid shit.
There's There's the
You
old
learn on your own.
Terry Seinfeld comedy skit where he says, when you're at a funeral and someone's given the eulogy,
Most people would rather be in
most
the coffin
people would rather be in the coffin
than
than
in the giving.
yeah, because they were talking about the two
Bit
biggest
cold.
fears. So
It is a bit cold, baby.
it is.
And I've
He's
gotta
going to
go.
come home and warm you
I've
up,
gotta go
Jules.
to-
So you
oh,
have
yes.
everyone have a fabulous
I'll
weekend.
warm her
Thank
up,
you for
baby.
talking about
Mwah.
disruption
I'm
in
gonna call
leadership.
I'm going to call this my live today. What do you think? This should
Oh,
be my
well,
live today.
yeah, well,
Isn't
it's
it?
about leadership,
It is, isn't
absolutely.
it?
Yeah,
Right.
so
Everyone out there in
thanks for watching, everyone. And
Thanks, podcast land. We'll see you soon.
podcasters, see you
and
later.
Facebook Lives.
Have a great week, everybody. And
We'll see you.
races are on this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So
Podcast will be there.
Saturday. And have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we will see you. You're not away next Friday?
No.
We'll see you next Friday. Only 2 to go before I go away.
Oh, no. We're going to have to do one from the hospital.
We will. Okay, take
See you,
care.
team.